So let's talk about that giant screen that's probably the centerpiece of your living room, your TV. If you've ever just sat there frustrated by a picture that looks off or totally overwhelmed trying to buy a new one, then you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to demystify all that tech to help you either get the most out of the TV you already have or make a much, much smarter choice on your next one. You know the feeling, right? You settle in to watch some epic blockbuster, and instead of looking like a movie, it looks like a cheap, daytime soap opera. Well, that weirdly smooth, almost too real look is a super common problem. We're going to show you how to fix it, help you figure out if you actually need an upgrade, and then how to shop smart if you do. Let's dive in. All right, first up, let's tackle the single biggest complaint about TV picture quality, that dreaded soap opera effect. And here's the best part. The fix is instant, it's completely free, and it's probably just a few button presses away on your remote. So what is actually going on here? Well, movies are shot at 24 frames per second. That's what gives them that classic cinematic feel. But your TV, trying to be helpful, thinks it needs to smooth everything out for stuff like sports. So it starts making up and jamming in extra frames. And the result, it completely ruins the director's vision, making everything look hyper-realistic and just weird. The good news is the solution is super simple. Just grab your remotes, dive into your TV's picture settings, and start hunting for anything that says motion or clarity. When you find it, just turn it off, or at the very least, turn it way, way down. You might want to play around with it a little to see what looks best to your eye. Now, just a heads up, every single brand loves to hide this feature behind its own wacky marketing name, which can make it a bit of a maze. LG calls it True Motion, Sony has Motion Flow, Samsung calls it Motion Clarity. You get the idea. Just look for anything with motion or clarity in the name. Turn it off, and you'll be golden. So here's the most important thing to take away from this. Before you even think about buying a new TV because the picture looks strange, please check your settings first. You can get a huge improvement in how your movies look without spending a single cent. Okay, so we've fixed the picture. That's a huge win. But what about adding totally new features? This brings us to a big question I see all the time. Could a massive upgrade, something like Dolby Vision 2, show up on your TV with just a simple software update? The hope is really appealing. The idea is that your streaming box, like an Apple TV, does all the heavy lifting, and your TV just needs a quick software patch. But the reality is, probably not. If you look at Dolby's own language, they keep talking about Dolby Vision 2 times devices. And that word, devices, is a giant clue that you're going to need new hardware inside the TV itself. And let's just be real for a second, this quote kind of hits the nail on the head. Think about it. In the world of tech, how often do we get these truly game-changing new features for free on hardware we already own? Almost never, right? So it's pretty unlikely you'll get the full experience without buying a new TV that was actually built for it. All right, let's shift gears. We've gone from fixing to wishful thinking, and now let's talk about buying. If you are actually in the market for a new set, there are some absolutely critical, often hidden things you need to know before you pull out your wallet. This is your Smart Shopper's Guide. Okay, please pay close attention to this one, because this is a huge trap that so many people fall into. You might see a glowing review for, say, a 65-inch TV, so you run out and buy the 48-inch version thinking it's the same thing, but it's not. You could end up with a totally different and, frankly, worse product. The actual panel technology inside the TV can literally change between sizes of the exact same model. And here are two perfect examples. The high-end LG G5 is famous for its brand new super bright screen, but that's only on the 55-inch and bigger versions. The smaller 48-inch? It gets a standard, dimmer panel. It's the same deal with Samsung's S90F. The bigger ones get that amazing, vibrant, cutie OLED panel, but the smaller one gets a less advanced WO LED. The lesson here is simple but so important. Always research the exact size you plan to buy. Now, for a very specific mission, for all you gamers out there, we're going to try and find a fantastic TV for gaming that doesn't completely break the bank. We want those high refresh rates, that low input lag, but for a price that actually feels reasonable. So for this challenge, our target price is going to be right around $650 for a 65-inch model. Now, this is a really competitive price point. You can find some absolute gems, but you can also find some pretty serious duds. So what should you be looking for?
Now, you might be tempted by last year's Vizio Quantum Pro, but honestly, its performance was kind of disappointing. For about the same money, you have much better options this year. The Hisense U65QF does a better job with upscaling. That's what makes older games and shows look sharp, while the TCL QM6K gives you way better contrast, making the picture really pop. Plus, they run on Fire TV and Google TV, which are just easier to use. Okay, but if you have just a little more wiggle room in your budget, I've got to tell you about the next model up. The TCL QM7K is a massive step up in performance across the board. It's a fantastic value, and it's definitely the one I'd get if you can stretch that budget just a little bit.
So, we have covered a ton of ground today. We talked about fixing, upgrading, and shopping. So let's just boil it all down to the key things you really need to remember. Here are your 4 keys. Number 1, always check your picture settings first. You can probably fix that weird soap opera look for free. Number 2, be skeptical about magic software updates. Big new features usually require new hardware. Number 3, research the exact size of the TV you want to buy because the tech inside can change. And number 4, don't just look at last year's models. This year's budget options might be a whole lot better. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. In this world where tech moves so incredibly fast, is the whole idea of finding the perfect TV just an illusion? Maybe the goal isn't to chase some flawless, mythical screen, but to just find the one that's perfect enough for you, right now. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.